So I just wanted to share today that a way that you can connect to your spirit or divine director that was taught to me in a mystery school. So I call this your divine director. The in quantum physics, it's called the observer, and in spirituality, it's called your spirit. So the concept that I wanted to share is that you have an observer that sits in your midbrain that's observing every single thought you think and every belief that you have. And like a director, whatever you present to it in terms of thoughts is like a script. And when you are aware of this, you are able to direct the life that you desire rather than the one that you have inherited in your programmed neural net. And what that means is that our neural net in neuroscience and spirituality, what I was taught in mystery schools and how they describe how your observer creates your reality, is that we all inherit this limited neural net. By the age of 20, it becomes solidified. So if you had a relationship or any kind of career experience around that time, that is programmed inside of you. So that's why you have the same kind of relationships, the same kind of job, the same kind of programmed loop, you could say. And this is what they also call a NPC, someone who's not aware of this inherited neural net, of this ego mind that is programmed inside of us, inside of your mind. And in order to break free from that third dimension, what I call beyond the fourth wall, you have to use your imagination and connect to this divine director that sits in your midbrain, that observes every thought and belief that you think, that you present to it. Because the way that I want to explain to you is that the reality that you're seeing, you're not actually seeing reality. You're seeing a movie that your mind is playing on repeat because you wake up every day, have the same thoughts, have the same beliefs, have the same behavior. And by understanding this information, you can change that to anything that you desire because that's what your spirit is there for, to connect to and change your reality. So thank you guys again for come to this webinar. I'd like to welcome you. And the intention of this webinar is to show how your consciousness and energy and frequency direct your life like a film. And you have to reclaim your seat as the divine director, or you'll be repeating the patterns that you've programmed into your neural net. Because you have to understand that life isn't happening to you. You're projecting it from inside your mind. So when you open your eyes every day, you're walking inside of your mind. And this is all inspired by quantum physics, spiritual teachings, mystery school knowledge, and cinematic metaphors or esoteric symbolism. And you have to understand that your brain projects your reality like a movie projector, and it doesn't see the world. You actually are rendering your hologram from the perception that you have in your mind. And this perception is guarded or controlled by the reticular formation in your brain, which is like the brain stem. And whatever subconscious programs that you have, it's held in this reticular formation and projects it into your reality. You could call that like the matrix, that you are seeing reality through a movie filter and not the true reality. This is what they mean by not being able to see the true reality, like in the Matrix. You see the Matrix, but it's not the real reality because you're seeing it through a programmed neural net that you inherited, and that you didn't use your awareness to change that. And so this is what is so important to change your reality, because you have to connect to this observer. And the way that you connect to this observer is I want you to close your eyes and think of the word love. Just close your eyes and see the word love in three-dimensional form. Perceive that word and know that with your imagination, you're able to rotate that word. You can even go through the O, back through the O, in and out, side to side, up, down, left, right. You can even rotate it. So now that you've done that, now ask yourself, who is observing the word love? Who's observing that word in your mind's eye? You're able to move and go through it, but what is that? So now you're observing the observed, and that's your spirit. That's why the imagination is so powerful, because instead of perceiving reality, now you can generate it when you connect to this observer. And that observer is observing everything in your imagination and in your mind. And you have to really, really connect to that, realize how profound that is. And until you realize how profound that is, you might still be asleep, or what they call NPC, because you're not realizing how powerful you are in creating reality, because your imagination is a holographic architect of creating reality. And all you have to do is focus long enough to create something in your imagination where your body makes it feel real. Because your brain doesn't understand reality from imagination. Whatever you perceive in your imagination, your brain is going to think that is just as real as the physical. So the more you focus on this inner world, the more powerful you become as a creator. And let's say you finally tap into that observer. You finally are aware that you have a divine director and producer inside of you, your spirit. And that energy can create anything you want in your life. But let's say you have a goal and you're like, well, I need people to help me. I need support. And that crew and that support you have are your thoughts, your beliefs, and the inner scripts that you repeat to yourself. So if you think of your thoughts, like when you're on a movie set, that's your crew. So the more that you're aligned with your thoughts into creating a reality that you want, like you have a big dream. Let's say for me, I want to make a feature film. Like I need to start believing that I'm going to have everything I need and the people to help me make it. So I have to start thinking that way, because your thoughts are the script writers, the sound crew, and the editors. So if you want to create anything in your reality like new, if you want more money, your crew's going to be like, I have money. I have everything I need. I make 10 grand a month. I make 20 grand a month. And then you keep saying that over to yourself like it's a crew. And then your sound crew is going to be like, I believe in you. You can do this. And then editors are going to be like, okay, this is what you need to get there. What are you going to do today that is in resonance of making that much money? And then that belief creates that scene in your mind. And you have to repeat that scene over and over to create that belief until you rewrite the neural net that you're in that is not making that much or not experiencing that reality. And one of my favorite teachers, Neville Goddard, always says, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. That's the belief that you have to change that script. So your emotional state is like the actors in your film, in your reality. So look at all the people that you experience every day in your reality. What kind of emotion are they presenting to you? That is what you have to become aware of. That emotional state is what basically is reflecting back to you that you live in. So all the people in your life, call them actors. The characters in your life reflect back your emotional state. So are they reflecting back motivation, inspiration, praise, our heightened state of emotion, happiness, and joy? If they're not, that means you're living in that pre-programmed neural net of lower states of emotion. In order to change that reality, you have to realize that your reality is a reflection of your emotional state. And your thoughts are the crew that help create the path you want to walk toward. And if you identify your current inner dialogue, the current script you write, you have to realize that it's not that helpful. That inherited neural net and the inner dialogue you have is not supportive to where you want to go. So stop listening to it. Stop identifying with those thoughts as me, because they're not. They're programs inside of your head that repeat over and over like a script until you wake up, connect to this divine director, and realize I can change the film and reality that I want to live in to anything that I desire. And the roles that you play, like fear, limitation, and desire, you have to realize that that all comes from lack. Whatever you want outside of you in order to be happy, that's coming from lack. But when you connect to this divine director, you can realize that you are already happy no matter what you desire because you can create it. So there is no lack inside of you because you have to realize all thoughts and those programming comes from a place of lack. You're never designing anything in the present moment like you already have it. I was saying, I need this in order to be happy. I need this in order to feel whole. I need a relationship in order to feel love. Like that's all from a place of lack. So you have to understand that that neural net, that ego mind is lacking love. And so you're never going to be happy if you identify with those thoughts. And so the way to break free from that third dimension and kind of like in a reality show where that character breaks the fourth wall and looks at the camera, that's your divine director waiting for you to like realize you can what are you trying to do right now? Like are you trying to repeat the same patterns and loops and be afraid of success and potential? Or do you want to break that fourth wall and change it? And the thing that you should take away from this is that the thing I learned the most about myself is looking at all the people in my life. Look at them as characters that you are experiencing in your reality that you created to tell you how you feel about you. And your emotions are the main characters that are driving your plot. So if you are having really happy people around you, then you are experiencing that within you. But if you're experiencing people in lower, negative emotions, then that means you're addicted to lower negative emotional states. You're addicted to feeling like a victim. You're like typecasting yourself in a victim role. So you need to realize that your emotions are the creators of your actions. So unless you have an inspired emotional state, your actions and behaviors will not change. And the only thing that usually stops that is your fear. But that fear is a programmed, that's a part of that inherited neural net. Like for me, and the latest thing to give you an example personally is I've never been that great at dancing, but I've always loved breakdancing, hip hop, and my favorite dance group is like Jabberwockies. Like every time I watch them, America's Best Dance Group, I get super emotional. My soul is like, you could learn this. What are you afraid of? Just try it. So because of that, I got in shape and now I started a breakdancing class and learning hip hop. And the only thing that was scary to me is the fear of embarrassment and failure. But that's like, I was like, oh, those are all things I've accomplished through other things like sports and uh, learning spiritual knowledge and practicing. So, like, what am I afraid of? And ever since I've started, um, my emotional state toward that embarrassment has completely transformed. Like now I don't really care about being embarrassed ever because that's what you do when you learn something new. You're never going to be that perfect at it. It's like that scene in the Matrix where Neo tries to jump over that building like Morpheus. So like you always are going to fail the first few times that you try something new. So don't be afraid of it. Embrace that embarrassment and cringe because you're just learning something new. And so this is the same kind of metaphor in creating reality is like just keep trying something new. Try new thought until it sticks. Try new behavior until you feel comfortable in that new role that you're rehearsing because then your reality will then reflect that. That's like a law. So no, the more positive that you grow, the more positive your reality will transform. And if you've been doing things on autopilot, like you're not changing in behavior, like nothing new has happened in your life in the next year or the past year, you're on autopilot. That means you're like on NPC mode. You're just playing a character that is oblivious to this power that you have inside of you and you need to start improvising from within. Follow your intuition, follow the things that terrify you, and do one new behavior that your old self would have never done. That's like my new motto recently. It's like, do something my old self would never think about doing and just do it. So that's been so exciting for me lately. It's been so, um, empowering because like, yeah, I suck at breakdancing, but when I do, I'm like, I'm actually kind of good. I'm just out of shape. And once I get better in shape, like I could be really good at this. So it's exciting to just try new things and know that like really the only thing holding back is this inherited neural net. That's not real. It's just a program. And the thing when you let go of having those thoughts, like as soon as you wake in the morning, you should have a new thought. Think to yourself something new that your old self would never think, and then feel that emotion from that, and that will inspire an action. Because a lot of people get stuck from doing an action or putting more energy out there because it feels weird. They don't know what this new thought will feel like, but that's the unknown. And you're here to make known the unknown. So the more you do that, the better your life will be. You'll be more excited about the unknown. You'll be more comfortable in the unknown because that's where abundance, love, and perfect health resides. That's where joy lives. So keep trying to push yourself into thinking more positively because that always inspires action. And you have to understand that your energy and emotion are a vibration. And that frequency combined of all your intentions is what creates the reality that you tune into. That's your frequency, it's your tone. And if you want to change the reality you're in, you have to change your frequency tone. And the way that I teach it in my meditations is I make you imagine a new future experience that you want, and you experience it in the now, in imagination. You feel every emotion. You feel psychically all the senses. You know, what's it smell like, taste like, feel like, what do you see and feel? And then when you exercise that your psychic senses in the moment, like that event is happening right now, you tap into that frequency. And so you end up tapping into the frequency of a future reality, but you're experiencing it right now, like it's happening. And so then you leave the guided meditation with that frequency tone, and then you can keep practicing it until it happens. Because the truth is, in order to experience any desire in the future, you have to feel it right now, the heightened emotion right now. Because if you don't practice that heightened emotion like it's happening right now, how are you ever going to feel it in the future? That is just a law of manifestation. So you have to tap into a new frequency in order to experience it in the future. Because what you feel right now in this moment is like auditioning for that next scene. And until you audition over and over right now, that next scene will never happen. You'll never get it. You never get that role to experience that reality because you can't fake any kind of frequency. What you're emitting right now, that's the reality you're frequency specific to. And you have to understand that inner state of awareness broadcasts everything. So until you are aware of that, then you will have a hard time changing anything in your reality. And the the thing I like to kind of give an example for, it's like you're trying to watch a love story, but you're tuned into a horror channel. And you have to be able to realize, like, I need to get out of this horror channel by changing the channel. And you have to change that channel by changing your frequency so you can see that love story, experience that. Because most of the people are just stuck on a channel and not aware that they can change it. You know, it's time to realize that you have the power inside of you to change your frequency to experience any reality that you want, and you just have to audition for it so then you can expect that new future reality to then play in that role. And I hope this is all making sense to you. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you want any advice on how to tap into a certain kind of reality, also feel free to comment and I can kind of dive in. Yeah, and then now I'm going to talk about like the props, the manifestations and symbols in your reality. So all the physical objects that you experience in your reality are like the props that you manifest in your home or your job or like the set designs your subconscious has ordered. And they always will reflect your inner state because those are the symbols of reality's ways of speaking to your soul. So if there's anything that you want new in your life, like a new house, a new place to live, or a new prop, You have to create that in your inner state. You have to believe that you already have it because everything that you see is a shadow cast by your beliefs, which means that like they are only a something that you created in the past, so you're experiencing now in the future. So like it's a shadow cast because you believe that you have it. Everything that you experience in your life is like the prop that you believe that you needed to have to experience the scene in this reality. And the practice that I do in order to like experience a new prop is that look at the symbolism in your current reality. Like what props are on your stage? You created all that. So why do you doubt then you can create something new? Everything in your life you've created in your imagination that you believe that you have it, so it's there. So then why is it so hard to believe that you can't have something new? And realize that like don't think of anything by scale in terms of how much it costs. Think of it in terms of how much you loved it into being, because that's what creates everything in your reality, the belief and love that you already have it. Like I always say, manifestation is like a mother giving birth to a new reality, and that child symbolizes that new reality, that prop or manifestation. And the more that you focus and nurture it and love it, then it's like a virgin birth. It'll be birthed into your reality. You don't need anything outside of you to create it. And you just need to focus your energy to nurture and love it into being. And nothing ever manifests due to the cost of it. The cost of it is only symbolizing the amount of time and love you put into it. So if anything costs more to you than you think you can afford, realize that you just need to focus your love and attention on it more than something that's less than that. And that's how I create everything in my life. Like if something costs more, I just need to love it into being. Like if you, let's say you want like the same energy that takes you to walk to get coffee, that energy, it's you believe you can just get it. If you have that same intention to something like a new car and you spent a whole day with that same belief, like, oh, I'm just going to walk and get a new car, then you'll get it. Like it's all about the time that you spend believing that you have it. And if you can spend that same amount of time on just believing you can go buy a cup of coffee and replace that coffee with a car, and you focus on it that way, then you're probably going to get the car. Money is not a limitation. It is just an expression of how much nurturing and love and attention you focus like you already can have it, that's how it manifests. And that's why I say that self-love and that pure awareness, knowing that you can create and manifest anything in your life, that's the special effects. So anything that you feel you need a little bit more of in terms of money, time, or energy, that's the special effects. Think of it as special effects. So think of your self-love and that pure awareness to know that you can manifest and create anything that you want as a prop in your life. Know that the special effects is that love. And it because that amplifies every scene in your reality. If you want a more romantic, loving, powerful, magical reality, then focus on it with all your energy and love it into being, because that's the special effects that makes it happen. That's how your reality, your movie creates coherence, magic, and clarity. There's no other thing outside of you that you need in order to experience that kind of reality. And having this non-judgmental awareness is the key to transforming your reality from pure creation. Because if you can understand that you're a creator of reality and you haven't been aware that you can create anything in your reality, then that's the judgmental thoughts that you have keeping you from that new reality. So when you are in a place where you stop judging what you want to create, then that's the key to your new reality and transformation. That's the fourth wall that you have to break. You have to wake up from the illusion and realize that you are the creator of everything in your life. Nothing else has created it. And that's the fourth wall of separation. You have to realize that the mind sees everything separate from you. So breaking free from that third dimensional wall, and this fourth wall is realizing my imagination has created everything in my reality. And that's when you start stepping into the director's chair of your life, this divine director, because you're rewriting your next scene from a place of love and not fear. And that's the only challenge that you have is this inherited neural net that just needs love because this inherited neural net, this ego, excuse me, is symbolized like every villain in movie that they are only in lack and perceive everything in that limited way is because they have separated themselves from love. So they never see things in completeness and wholeness. And once you are aware of that, then you have to realize like that's not how you really are. It's just a program. Let go all those thoughts and realize I can create anything I want when I tap into this observer in my mind that can create any reality holographically in my imagination. And all I have to believe that that's more real than the scene. That whatever you create in the unseen world is more powerful and real than the physical. And once you get to that place, then there's nothing that you can't create or experience. And that's the whole point of everything that I teach is that when you get into the unseen world and start living from there, then you see the outside as the movie that you've directed, produced, wrote, and emotionally auditioned for that you are experiencing instead of the other way around. And that's the profound and exciting part about all this information is because you're not just this character living in this reality. You're the consciousness projecting the entire movie, all the people, all the places, all the things, times, and events. And then that you have to realize that's how powerful you are in your hologram. Like, I know it's kind of crazy to think that, like, you created your job, you created your friends, you created the people, you created all the props. Like, it's mind blowing to think that, like, what? But once you start practicing it and realizing that like once you change that emotional state inside of you, the people start to change, the props and your opportunities start to come to you easily, money flows to you whenever you desire it, then it's like, of course it's real. Like people have been saying this for generations and in every spiritual, every spiritual teacher, if Jesus has taught this, like the only thing that I don't get is like, why don't you believe it yet? Why don't you practice it yet? We have to practice what we preach. Like I practice everything. Like I took the risk one time and faced my fear of money where I like, I'm not going to pay rent for a couple months to see if it's even real. Like, and then to see if I can manifest exactly what I wanted when I had to. Like I practiced that. And I faced my fear of that because then I manifested like a 5 grand job in less than a week to pay for the 3 months rent I needed to owe. Like nothing is as real as you think it is. Or actually, it's only as real as you think it is. And if you have a lot of fear in your life, then you're going to be terrified of any kind of change because you think it's real. Really, it's just a program. It's just like you created a little villain in your movie to keep your emotional state from feeling whole and complete. So just let go of that character, let go of that emotional state inside of you, and you'll never have anything to fear. And that's the only thing I can really like motivate you because I can't tell you what to do. You have to practice it. I can only tell you what I've experienced when I let go and practice this information, because then you start to experience how powerful you are as a creator. Like this past year has been crazy difficult for me because when I moved here, excuse me for a second, I was like, Spirit, please show me everything limited and basically programmed in me that I needed to overcome to be to reach my potential. And that sucked. I realized that like I was really scared to be authentic. I was really terrified of like speaking my truth to like people that I cared about to upset them. So then I experienced relationships that confronted me with that. Uh, I realized I was confronted with being insecure, not being able to push myself and become like to do skits to be funny. Like I had to experience relationships that made me feel and present to me all these insecurities, all these ways I didn't want to live my life to show me like these are all the things that you keep inside of you that are holding you back from your potential. So I'd experienced that in like people that I had relationships with that ended terribly because I was like, or they didn't end terribly. They just made me realize so many things terrible about myself. They actually were gifts that I needed to hear in order to reach my potential. And all of that was for me insecurity, doubt, fear, being authentic, speaking my truth, and not doing things that terrified me. And then once I let that go, blessed it, and saw the, so gate was become grateful for those experiences, I am now doing all the things that I love and terrify me. So it was exactly what I needed, even though I also asked Spirit to show me that. So it was all my fault. I can't blame these people I experienced separate from what I intended to learn. So also you have to realize that like the people in your life, if they're not making you feel good, why are you creating that for yourself? Or what are they showing you that you need to learn to move past a lesson? Because you have to realize not one person reflects your entire being. Like you are a vast being. That one person is just showing you what you intentionally wanted to look at. So don't take it also so hard that they're reflecting your entire being. They're just showing you an aspect of yourself that you wanted to learn. And once you change that perception of reality being separate from you, then you start projecting a new reality based on your new thoughts, emotions, and your frequency. And that entire reality will change. Like you have to realize that anything bad that has happened in your life that's maybe made you feel really shitty about yourself, maybe you have a lot of shame, you start judging yourself, realize that that's just a past hologram that you're focusing on that's not real. It's in the past. It's like every day you create a new hologram, a new movie. So your energy is just too stuck on the past, so it's not able to create a future hologram. So I know for a lot of people, like when you're unconscious, yes, you've maybe done something really bad or hurt someone's feelings or has done something that made you feel shameful. But realize that that's just a lesson you had to learn in a hologram that you created for yourself because you weren't in a positive state of mind. You weren't, you were like healing. So realize that the hologram that made you feel that way, let it dissolve, let it go. It's not real. It's just a reflection of that emotional state that you're in. Let's say you were heartbroken, you were depressed, you weren't aligned with yourself. You let this inherited ego mind and interior dialogue program you to death. So realize that like take your power back, realize that that hologram isn't real. Let go that power you give to that hologram that you created from that inherited neural net of the ego mind and just let it go. Don't give it any more of your power, your attention. It's not real. You created that as a hologram. And as a hologram, it can disappear like a film. You can change the frames now where it's not real. Something new is more meaningful to you. And you'll never have to experience that again because it's the past. Your soul learned that lesson. So also know that you will never experience anything that you have in the past because your vibration is different now. You've already experienced it. It's not in your field. Unless you want to go unconscious again and feel that, go for it. But I don't think you ever have to experience that again because smart enough now, you have the wisdom to never experience that again. So realize that like you could never experience heartbreak again. You could never experience debt or being broke again. All you have to do is focus on this divine director that observes every single thing in your imagination. And if you nurture that reality with the same love and attention as something in the physical, it that hologram will become real. You have to audition for that every single moment that you have, and you will experience it. Nothing is impossible, So I can only say that from my own experience of practicing all this, like for manifesting, like when all this really happened when I lived in New York because like the energy was just so intense that I had to. And I was also during COVID. So I was like, the fashion industry is dead. I can't really work. So I'm just gonna practice. So then, especially when I first moved to New York, I know I repeat this a lot, but I think this will help anyone that wants something new in their life. Um, and I still do this now. It was just one of those peak moments where I was like, fuck, I'm powerful as hell. So, like when I moved to New York, in New York, you have to have first month, last month, security deposit, broker's fee. So you need to have at least 10 grand to move into an apartment, at least. And then on top of that, if you need furniture, you need like another 10 grand. So I was like, okay, I need like 25 grand to move out the studio apartment that was full of bed bugs and mice and live the life that I wanted. So unconsciously, when I started practicing, it probably took like 6 months to a year. When I started to like practice it every day, I had the emotional state where like I already have it. I was like funny, I was happy. So I always said yes to everything. And then I got a call from Saks Fifth Avenue for a job that paid me exactly 25,000 in less than a month. In like 3 weeks, it was in my account. And at that time, and my girlfriend, I told her this, and she was like, oh my God, like everything just started to change. And I also told myself, like, I make over six figures every year. And after that job, I was making like 150, 175, 250 for the next few years because I just auditioned for that role every day and I believed I had it. And that money just came running in. But then, like money is probably the easiest thing to become unconscious of because then I realized, like, oh crap, the jobs I'm having, I'm working with a psycho, like a narcissist. Like, I didn't really intend to have jobs that, like, I also created like the unconscious person I was working with. So like on top of the money, I also then started to be like, I want to work with this kind of person instead. So then I got jobs with people that were more aligned to like the people I wanted to work with. And then I started having better relationships. A lot of those jobs just paid me the same amount, but they were cooler, better people that I actually wanted to be friends with. So then there's new things I learned on top of that besides the money that I needed to like attune in my frequency to then start having a new reality with new people. And yeah, so every day is a learning curve, something to learn every day because the things that appear in your life, you're like, oh, I want this also. So then you practice that new frequency of that. And yeah, and then it becomes like a really fun game. Well, it's not really a game, it's more like a fun experiment that you try on yourself. And it becomes like kind of fascinating to realize like the potential that exists inside of you to create something new. Like ever since I've been doing these skits, I'm like, oh, I'm actually like a really good screenwriter of comedy. Like I never did comedy before, but I pushed myself to write as many of those skits as I could and to then start attracting people like that way to work with. And it's been amazing. Like just know that once you push yourself out of this comfort zone and into the unknown, everything gets better. You feel like a kid again, where you're learning something new every day about yourself, but it's like, it's cool, it's good. It's not like negative or bad because you're aware that like you have positive intention in your life. So how could it be bad? Yes, it might be a little cringy and embarrassing learning something new, but that's like what happens when you learn something new. You're not a master at first. So I hope this information has really inspired you to like realize that you can create a reality that is like a movie that you want to experience. So why not start experiencing like a fairy tale or a fantasy or a love story? Like realize that it's just a reflection of everything that you do inside of you. That's how powerful you are. Like everything that you experience outside of you is coming from within you. And to reiterate, your divine director is the producer and the director. And if you want more money in your life, then believe and know that you can create that. Be the excitement that you feel for that reality is the way your producer creates the money for you. And all the characters in your movie is a reflection of your emotional state. So think about all the people in your life. What are they showing you? Because that's where you live emotionally. And if you want to change that, practice and heightened emotional states like gratitude, love, and joy. And then those people will reflect that. And your crew that you experience in your reality are your thoughts. So if you want a better reality, have better thoughts. That's how you get the support you need to create the reality. And again, the most powerful part of all this is that your love for yourself, your belief, and your inner nurturing of positivity in knowing that you can create everything, that's the special effects. Once you start practicing that and not listening to that inherited neural net, then you start listening to your soul intuition, and that's what guides you in your life. It'll tell you, like, try this. This is a new thing that you should learn. This is what you're here to do. And then that will create such loving belief, non-judgmental, unconditional love inside of you. Then that will attract like the real soulmate that you desire, because that energy, you will realize that like that never leaves you. That's like the most permanent thing in your life when you think of everything else changing outside of you. That will never leave you. So if you think about that and that unconditional love of your soul that will never leave you, that then will attract that soulmate. And that person will never leave you. Like if you think of it that way. So, because that's how this reality will mirror back what you feel and believe inside. Like, really think about that. Walk into your reality and be like, this is my mind right now. This isn't some physical world that I'm living in. You're like, you're a character in a video game that you're holographically creating from your consciousness and your energy. It's pretty wild to think about, like, really. So, like, look around right now where you're at. You're in a hologram you created. You're in a video game. And if you want to change something today, think positively about that experience that you want to audition for. You know, if you want to audition for more money, what does that person who has that money feel like, think like, act like? And keep doing that every single moment that you can. For me, the newest thing I'm trying to manifest is like I work at Gaia right now, Gaia.com, and I'm trying to do comedy. And my old inherited neural net from that reality has said, like, you can't do that there. Like, I feel like my destiny has always been to say no to all limitations to wherever I'm at and help them transform it by transforming myself. So, like, yeah, if I was unconscious about myself, I would think of like the place that I work, impossible place to transform. But then I'm like, maybe it's just a mirror of everything inside of me. And if I change that, maybe that reality where I work will transform. And it's starting to. There's new people coming in that align to the content that I want to create. There's new people that, or there's also people leaving that were maybe distracting me from that new reality. So, like, things get so magical when you start practicing this. Just practice it. And then the more you do, the more confident you'll be. And then that reality will shift. And, I keep thinking it's like, what if Gaia just shifts and I'm like helping them create content for every spiritual person out there that explains all this in a practical, grounded way instead of someone lecturing it and from an old white guy. Like, why can't it be inclusive of every kind of person? Like, those are just things I'm realizing maybe that's all inside of me. So if I start changing that, that can all change, and it's starting to. So it's pretty amazing. So take all this info and please try to practice it in your life because I can only tell you that it's profoundly changed my reality by doing that. And I think you'll experience the same thing for yourself. Like, you will experience the same thing for yourself because I'm showing you that it does. So thank you guys all again for watching, and please thank you. I really am so grateful for the people that support me in this work because, in my mind, this is the most real content that I see out there. There's other content that, yes, it's teaching all this and like all that, but it's like, I don't know. I'm just trying to be real with everyone, tell you the stuff that moves my soul. And, there's not a lot of that in the world. So the people that I attract, I'm so grateful for because it's hard to find that a lot of the time. A lot of people are stuck in this old narrow net and they start performing because that's from a place of lack instead of just being real. And so all my content is just trying to help people to like let go, be more, have some humility, try to embrace yourself and try something new, get out of that comfort zone because once you do, then your entire reality will be everything that you dreamed of and more. And the more you do this, the more real people you will find, the more people that has the same kind of passion and drive that you have and aren't afraid to take these personal risks to empower yourself because if you do that, that's how you change the world, not by like preaching and lecturing people, by like practicing this, because then your entire reality will transform into that harmony and that wholeness that you feel from inside of you. So I hope you all take that and do something with it and reach a higher place of being because you know that it's possible. And just think of your movie, your reality. I mean, think of your reality as like a movie because I love thinking of that way because that's my background. But maybe for you, just think of like, I've been an amateur filmmaker, and now here's your opportunity to be a master filmmaker and activate that resonance inside of you to then create that reality that you are dreaming of ever since you were a child. Like, tap into that soul energy. Like, watch that movie Soul, watch Inside Out. Like, tap into that humility and vulnerability that is where your soul lives. Like, that's the love that you need to give to yourself when it feels that like pain. Just express that vulnerability and use that power then to like feel a new reality into being because you have to experience that pain because that's your neural net letting go of that old reality, of that doubt, lack, and fear. So you have to experience that vulnerability and that pain because that's that old neurons letting go and plugging into a new neural net of change. So like until you do that, you're stuck in your old reality. You have to feel the pain of that love that's missing from inside of you. So then once you feel it, you'll experience that new reality. So thank you guys again. Always feel free to contact me at info or Billy at 58magazine.com for any questions. I also have my 58 membership where you can experience practicing this every week in my guided meditations on Wednesday evening and these sessions every other Sunday. And I also want to remind you that I have a tool called the Future Self Film Experience where I do a deep dive and intake with your current neural net So I spend like an hour to 2 hours talking to you personally about the neural net that you've installed. And then I talk to you about the new neural net that you want to live in. So it's like I talk to you about the old neighborhood you've been living in the past to better understand the new future neural net that you want to live in the future. And then based off that intake form and the in those personal questions, I take the info and create a new script to help you to start living in that new neural net. And then I create a film that I use AI that you start saying, I write a script that you say to yourself. I record you saying it, and then I make a film with the images of yourself so you can see yourself in that new reality. So this is a tool to like practice in the physical world if you feel like you don't have time to do it in the imagination, in the inner world. Because the more you practice it physically, like a tool in reality, then you'll start imagining that in your subconscious, like before you go to bed, if you watched it, as soon as you wake up, that'll just give you the frequency of that new reality as a tool that you can use to then change your life. So that's a new tool that I'm offering that has been super powerful for people that I've done it 2 times for some people. I just finished the second one, so I'm not sure how that's affecting her yet, but the first one, it's definitely been powerful for her. She wanted to move from Chicago to LA, and now she's in LA, and she now has the tool to keep her frequency high in a place where it's not so high. So if you are looking for a tool for something like that to really understand yourself, to really understand the inherited neural net that you have and how to change that, because a lot of people have blind spots that their ego doesn't want you to see. So by talking about where you're at, then you can find out exactly where you want to go. And once you are able to do that, all this energy will release from you from that control, that cage you've been in, and realize now is a time for you to experience the new neighborhood, the new neural net. So again, that's called the Future Self Experience. Check it out on 58magazine.com. I've done a ton of videos about it. I haven't been able to share the actual videos because it's very private. Um, but I might be able to do short examples of it in the future. So again, thank you guys again for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Check out 58magazine.com and subscribe to my newsletter, and check out the membership if you want weekly practice in this inner world of creating and aligning with your divine director to create a future reality in the moment, in the now, to audition for so you'll experience it in the future. So thank you guys again, and I hope you guys have a